9 times out of 10, your welcome series is always going to be the highest income generating flow in your Klaviyo account or whatever ESP you're using. And so that's why it is extremely important to make sure that that specific flow is 100% optimized, because it could represent like, honestly, like 50% of the entire email revenue if done correctly, okay? So, and also like, I cannot tell you how many times because I audit multiple Klaviyo accounts every week, and I cannot tell you how many times brands already have a welcome series, which is good, but it just completely sucks, right? And so again, it is really important, especially right now with the ever increasing Facebook ads or just paid ads costs in general, it is really important to have that acquisition funnel, welcome flow optimized. So with that being said, let me dive into how to create a super mega incredibly high profitable welcome flow in this video. So that being said, let me dive right into it. So the first things first, which is extremely important, is to make sure that your pop-up is converting at least 4% of your traffic. So if your pop-up is not converting at least 4% of your traffic for both mobile and desktop, because by the way, you need to have 2 different pop-ups for those 2 devices, then you need to fix that first. Reason why is because you can have the best welcome series in the entire world, but if your pop-up is not converting enough people, then you will not be getting enough people into your welcome flow, which doesn't make any sense. So you'll be, again, leaving thousands of dollars on the table again by not having a decent pop-up, right? A high converting pop-up. Because again, the pop-up is the backbone of your entire email marketing strategy, not only for the welcome flow, but all the other flows. I've got some videos in the channel just going over how to make sure your pop-up is converting optimally, so feel free to check those out. That being said, the first thing you need to do when it comes to the pop-up, just kind of a high-level overview, is you need to A/B test the offers first. So you need to A/B test the offers in your pop-up against each other, whether that is a fixed discount or a percentage discount or free shipping, whatever it is. You need to define the offer first and find the winner. And then you can then test different triggers. So I don't know, instead of like doing 8 seconds, you could do 12 seconds, right? And finally, you can A/B test, copy and design, and structure. But by far, the most important one is always going to be the offer. Okay? So that out of the way, let me dive into the mistakes to avoid before I actually share my screen going over how to create the actual welcome flow. So first things first is, with the welcome flow, it is extremely important that you use dynamic codes instead of like using static codes, right? So for example, instead of like having let's say you have a 10% offer on your pop-up, so that's the incentive, and then the discount for that is welcome 10, which is basically what 80% of the brands do. The problem with that is that if you happen to have some urgency in the final emails of the sequence, then people will not buy that, right? They know it's not that discount doesn't really expire. It is static. Welcome 10, right? However, if the discount is welcome X FR87, whatever it is, a dynamic code, then of course the actual urgency is real and it looks real as well. So people actually buy that and then you just purchase from it. Especially if your brand is doing over, let's say like 150K per month right now, over that, then it makes more sense to actually use dynamic codes. Those little details make a difference at the end of the day. So that's for the first mistake to avoid. Second mistake is, and I'm gonna cover this once I create the actual welcome flow, is having smart sending on the emails essentially. What is smart sending? Is when Klaviyo automatically skips people who receive an email like 16 hours before or something like that. That's kind of the default, right? And that's a big no-no, because let's say you send a campaign like 10 hours earlier, and then they wouldn't receive, let's say you have smart sending turned on for the 3rd email of your welcome flow, right? But you send a campaign 10 hours earlier, then that person wouldn't receive the actual 3rd email of the welcome flow. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, I'm going to illustrate this once I create the welcome flow. That's the second mistake to avoid. Third one is having double opt-in activated on the actual list that is connected to the welcome flow. And that's, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen this before, and you'll be losing like 50% of your audience by having this on, right? And I'm gonna cover how to turn this off later. Another one, which is a big one, is having a very short welcome series, so less than 4 emails. Again, the welcome series is by far the most important flow you could have. And so it is like less than 3-4 emails is not enough, in my opinion, to just cover all the different angles you need to cover to convert someone potentially. Of course, like the first email is the most important one, but the other ones are really crucial as well. Another one is not having urgency, especially for the last few emails of your welcome flow. You want to make sure people actually take action, and so that's why urgency is so important. And so that's why using dynamic codes is important as well. We've got next, not covering multiple unique selling points and introducing the brand mission or founders. A lot of people, especially for the second, third, fourth email, just focus on the incentive offered, which is great. So the discount code, but that's pretty much it. They just display some best sellers and stuff like that. But again, for the welcome series, you want to cover different objections. You want to handle the objections and just cover the unique selling points of your brand, products, etc. Finally, and this is one that I can tell you right now, like 95% of if you're a brand owner, I can guarantee you that you're not doing this, which is tagging people in the welcome flow to exclude them from campaigns. And I'm gonna cover how to do it later. But that being said, let me create the actual welcome flow, kind of the structure, and then I'm gonna cover like every mistake and how to avoid it. So let's go first. Let's first create a list that I'm gonna connect to the welcome series. So let's call it create list right here. Let's call it YouTube demo list. Okay, create list. Now the first mistake, double opt-in is on. So how to deactivate double opt-in? You go settings, you go consent, and then here by default it's always going to be activated, right? You want to toggle single opt-in and then save, and that's pretty much it, right? But again, most brands don't do it, and you'll be losing again 50% of your traffic because of this, because it actually adds more friction to the entire funnel. So people, besides giving you their email, they need to go to the inbox and then confirm their subscription, which again makes the entire process way longer, and it adds friction, and overall people just forget to actually check out their inbox to confirm their subscription. Okay, so that's one mistake out of the way. Let's go to flows right here, and then let's create a flow. You go to search flows, welcome flow, or welcome series, and then you can do this. I mean, we actually use the standard one, welcome series. I'm gonna call it, and then here I'm gonna select the actual list that is selected, and then I'm gonna create flow, right? While this is created, so this one is going to be on, pretty sure, with pretty much all the emails or the last emails. Let's check it out. So let's say smart sending is on. Yeah, as you can see here, this is on for the first email, which is the most important one. So you wanna deactivate this. That's smart sending essentially. Save, and then you do the same with pretty much all the emails, as you can see here, right? Crazy. And by the way, so this is a standard one. Of course, I'm not gonna create all the emails, but again, one of the mistakes we saw was having a very short welcome series. Okay, so yeah, we've got smart sending is on. We already turned off the smart sending for all emails. Double opt-in, we already turned this off as well. And then of course, I'm gonna create more emails, but you get the point. And then, yeah, not tagging people in the welcome flow to exclude them from campaigns. So what do I mean by that? Well, when we have a flow, essentially, when we have a flow and we have someone going through the flow, we don't want to send them like campaigns. Why? Because we want to make sure people go through the entire flow and they just don't get distracted by other things. And this actually applies to other flows like the abandoned checkout, abandoned cart, and just other pre-purchase flows. Just making sure they're going through a funnel, they go through it and they just don't get distracted by other campaigns that we're sending. So the one-off campaigns, right? So how do we do that? Once you're here, you basically drag this profit property update block right here, and then you click on add step and then create new property in this case, because in other cases you'd be like updating it. But essentially you can call it in welcome flow, and then boolean, and then you put it as like true, save. And then at the end of the flow, once they've gone through the entire flow, you clone it here, and then it's gonna be update existing I mean, of course, this is not going to pop up because no one has this property yet, but you get the point. You basically select the same property. So in welcome flow, and then the property value you assign is false because they already went through the entire flow, so they can start receiving campaigns. Once you do that, you go to list and segments, and then you create a segment right here. And then I'm gonna just call it in welcome flow segment, and then properties about someone. And then here again, this is not popping up because no one has this property yet, but essentially you just use this property, and then equals properties about someone. So you select that, well, equals true or false, right? And then you just you create the segment, and then once you create campaigns, you just exclude those people from the campaigns. Simple as that. That's pretty much it, right? And then you do the same thing for all the flows, all the core flows. Again, this is one of the most important things. You don't want to distract people from the flow itself, especially, for example, if they're going through the abandoned checkout. Why would you actually send them campaigns that are more top of the funnel, right? Why? Makes more sense to actually just let them go through the bottom, like medium bottom funnel flow, and then that's how they convert and just become a paying customer. So yeah, that's pretty much it for these mistakes to avoid here. That's gonna be important. If you can just take a screenshot of this and just make sure you don't make these mistakes, this is gonna be most important thing, especially these ones right here. Like having smart setting on and just double opt-in, it's gonna be the biggest ones, I'd say. And then when it comes to the structure and the content of the emails, just not having urgency and just having a very short flow overall. And then again, these one that we just covered as well. Okay, so when it comes to the content bucket, so what to talk about and what angles to cover in every single email. This is kind of the structure we use. Again, every brand is different and you can be more specific, but it really depends on the brand itself. But this is kind of a very extremely powerful kind of structure you can utilize for your brand as well. So on the first email, so the email that actually get right away, of course, we just have a welcome message plus the incentive offer in the pop-up, just everything above default, very straightforward, very direct and easy to read, because when someone signs up, it's most likely because they're gonna buy from you and they just want the discount right away. So that's why it is really important to just you just basically show the discount code ASAP. Again, don't overcomplicate this first email. It's made to convey the discount code ASAP, the offer, pretty much. Now, email number 2 is where you can introduce the founders, the team, the brand mission, values, stories, and then the unique selling points of your brand or products. So what makes your brand different from the others and what to expect from you as well, okay? Email number 3, and again, not again, I haven't really talked about this, but if you're collecting zero-party data, so essentially questions at the pop-up level, this is where most likely you can start basically tailoring the actual welcome sequence based on the responses you got. Again, taking the obvious example, which I've covered in previous videos. If I go to the website itself, let's see if I get the pop-up. Okay, I'm not getting the pop-up because I think I already subscribed. But essentially, if you're getting questions at the pop-up level, so what's your goal? What's your biggest pain point right now? Again, if you're like selling skincare, for example, what is your biggest struggle? Getting rid of fine lines, acne, dry skin, whatever it is. Those require different solutions, right? And so you can tailor the welcome series based on that, because once people click on a certain option, they get tagged with a specific profile property, and then you can have conditional splits on your welcome series based on what they responded, and then have more of a tailored messaging, which works extremely well. So this is where you can start branching out based on the responses you got at the pop-up level if you're collecting zero-party data. And by the way, I've covered zero-party data, how to collect it and how to use it in multiple videos before, so feel free to check them out. So email number 3, essentially, this is again where you can just start branching out based on the responses of if you're collecting zero-party data. So essentially for this email right here, we like to have some social proof. So the goal here is to get people over the line for sure. So we've got testimonials, success stories, PR, awards, especially for example in some industries like skincare, awards are really important. And then influencer collabs. So if you have been working, or you've worked in the past, or you're currently working with a quote-unquote famous influencer or ambassador, this is where you can just showcase it, right? So email number 3, social proof focused. Now, email number 4 is where you can have more of a product focus, brand focus approach. So we've got here for this email, we like to have some product info. You can showcase the best sellers, and then you can dive again into the USPs of your products and or your brand here, which is gonna be pretty simple for this email. And then email number 5 is the kind of a urgency type email. So last chance for the incentive. You can have some FAQs and you can just handle some objections. And this is why a dynamic code is so important, because people will actually understand and believe the urgency, right? And to be honest, the discount code is truly going to expire. So that's pretty much it for this structure of this welcome sequence right here. Again, every brand is different, but to be honest, it's a very extremely powerful starting point. So that's pretty much it for this video. Yeah, I just got hit like 2 days ago doing jiu-jitsu, but it is what it is, right? Thank you so much for watching. If you're running an e-commerce brand doing over 100K per month right now and you want a reliable, high-performing email marketing team to handle your emails with dozens of video testimonials from other brand owners just like you, then feel free to use my Calendar link below in the description box below. You can go over your Klaviyo account, put together a specific plan of attack, and see if it makes sense for both of us to work together. So yeah, with that being said, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.